is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to the first ever Werewolf the Apocalypse Phoenix's Call live cast Q&A. This season saw a lot of things happen, and those of you that have tuned in, I'm sure, are bristling at the bit with questions. So I'm Relyn Dare, your moderator for this evening, and I will be basically scanning Twitch chat for questions for the cast, and I'm going to go ahead and let this cast of players introduce themselves.
Greetings and salutations. I am Ravinia, also known as Nikki, and I was the wonderful storyteller, aka the horrible bitch that murdered people.
Hi, I'm Maddox. I was your moody teenager for this series. It was somewhat typecast, but not my fault. I made my own character. And yeah, this was a wild ride.
I'm Dropstitch Switch on the interwebs of things. I played Olivia, the Theurge Black Fury, who was also a moody teenager, more or less.
Hey everybody, it's me, I'm back. I'm Ravnos Archon in Twitch chat. I played Eyes of the Creek. I like that you kept Ghost Eyes of the Creek, but not Ghost Olivia Franklin, Shanky. Thank you for that. I was the Red Talon Philodox. Spoilers, I do die. I'm the first one to die. Oh, thanks. There you go. Equity.
Fair.
My name is Brad, Timber Brad 411 in chat. I Plays with Danger, the Bonar Ragabash, general mischief maker, lover of honey and insects, and overall shit show. Only person not to rage, so kind of sad about that. Or happy? I don't know.
Oh, it's coming.
And I am Plague Winds. I played Jonathan Davis, the Children of Gaia Galliard, and guess I was the moody adult of the group who loved his music and break checks.
So typically how we start these things off is we allow the cast to actually ask each other questions while the viewers start to come up with some questions. And one thing I would actually like to ask the cast to get us all started, each of you, what was your favorite moment in the Chronicle?
I can go first because I was just talking about this to a friend of mine earlier. It is the heart-racing moment where Colin got brought back and was branded as a coward, and I tried to tell plays that had to be done. And as he walked away from me, I called him a coward. And when he shifted into Hispo and stepped up to me, that moment for me, I was like, all right, we're going to have some combat. We're going to have some combat. But I am a red talent and I am a Philodox, so I'm probably going to give as good as I get. But nothing really escalated, and I think it played out much better that way. It's one of my favorite moments, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say the same. I think for me, especially because that, like in that moment, I didn't even necessarily know that that's how it was gonna go. Because kind of when I did it in my own head, I was like, okay, plays could go one of two directions. And I think, like Rav said, it was that just felt like in the moment the most kind of for the characters in that situation, what would happen. And then, especially everything that happened after that moment because of that moment. So yeah, I would definitely have to say that or Jonathan, like in the beginning where Plays is just being a fucking idiot. And especially later on finding out the importance of that pillbox for Jonathan. Yeah. Because that was like the first time where Jonathan was Pack dad. He's like fun loving and stuff, or Pack stepdad. But yeah.
I think on my part, that's that moment where we lost eyes, and then the following episode with the wake was just a very kind of like a pivotal point for a lot of characters. And I thought it was really awesome how we all dealt with that emotion. But then also, I'm always fond of when we've botched rolls and something stupid happened. It's always fun.
Favorite moment, pick your favorite kid. I can give like a quick smattering. The last episode just entirely. My lovely emotional breakdown, that was tasty. Exhausting, but it was good. My secondary emotional breakdown, that wasn't as bad. And then oddly enough, yeah, the branding was definitely an intense moment because I was subconsciously thinking the same thing. That chat was apparently like screaming. Everyone's just like, Ronan, he's out. They're gonna get rid of him. He's running, and I'm like, it's not that extreme, is it? But maybe. And I was just like sitting there quietly trying not to be like, what's going on here? Just how bad did Colin fuck up? Because I was curious, because I had never seen someone actually do the things that werewolves aren't supposed to do. So I was like, yeah, this is a good point for me to test that theory, and so I bolted.
I think mine's kind of on the same vein as been said. It was more like the episode after Eyes of the Creek died. It was, that happened at the very end of the previous episode, but it was like when that started, it was like stakes definitely like were raised. It was like, oh shit, we're really dealing with something big. And then finding out like what it is, it was like, wow, this like big, to me, that was kind of like a big tonal shift. It kept it awesome, but it was like a big tonal shift in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely went from being just this pile of crazy BS where we didn't always get along, but things kind of worked out to, this just got serious.
Before it was break checks and being naked in the woods, and then
yeah.
Honestly, I have a hard time picking a favorite moment. Every moment I got to sit here silently watching you create and build the story. was my favorite. I know that sounds like such a fucking cop-out answer, but I don't know. There's a moment in an ST running a campaign where you're like, oh, I did good. And it's that moment where you're just playing the characters. And I just get to sit here in silence and just watch this go on. And y'all did that so perfectly for me.
It's like watching a performance that you orchestrated.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that. I've run enough games now where I totally get that. And yeah, that's legit. Anyone here at this table that has run games and has had the pleasure of having an amazing table that all just bring it. It's like, holy hell. That's just a masterpiece forming right before your eyes. Yeah.
There is something amazing about watching people act out a good story for you. Be like, yes, you've all fallen into my web. This is just exactly what I wanted.
That's exactly what I wanted.
And it's also coming to that key pivotal moment of, okay, where do I kick this rock to start the fucking avalanche?
Where do I twist that screw?
Yeah.
Ravno said Maddox there can both attest that I do that pretty well. But
So well that it's too close to home. Yeah.
I want to also give just a little bit of my own commentary. Bouncing off a drop stitch witch there with the mentioning the wake. I thought the wake was brilliant. Having y'all play that emotional experience of losing a pack mate, that was heavy stuff. And I tip my hat to all of y'all. I have played heavy scenes like that in games on this channel, and I know how hard that can be. And how much it takes out of you to play that. But it's also at the same time, it's incredibly cathartic. Incredibly cathartic. So I tip my hat to all of y'all for that. It was freaking brilliant. All of y'all just nailed it. For real.
On that note, like anyone who's been in the Discord knows, like right around the time of that episode, like I was dealing with the death of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I, as a player, was emotionally raw still at the point. And so that happening, and then, Eyes being effectively pack dad and me being the unruly, one of the unruly assholes, Colin in a different direction, but and it's kind of one of those things that it's still a pack member, and then with plays being lupus, human emotions are still very they're new to him, and so for him it's processing that on top of one of the last conversations him and Eyes had was Eyes calling him a coward. And so not getting to do anything, one, to prove him wrong, as a Ragabash wants to. But it was also losing Pac Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there was definitely for me part of like the emotional charge from real life coming in that I don't think it would have, at least on my end, it would have been as visceral for me personally. And I don't know if that necessarily translated as much as I feel like I experienced it. But yeah, definitely that was a special episode for me. Because that definitely kind of gave me a space to sort of process part of that. Because, yeah, for me, a lot of those emotions were very real, just in a completely different context.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, as a viewer, you did convey that. You did. And it was beautiful to see all of y'all deal with your own emotional processes relating to grief and loss. It was a beautiful thing. So if you guys have questions for each other, I know Ravnos Archon, you posted one in Twitch chat if you want to, poke a little bit at your playmate there.
Come on.
The real question that I have is what on God's green earth like provoked you to make the spirit under the mountain a Nexus crawler, especially for like first ranks.
Damn, I was gonna hold off on that till later, but yeah, no.
Ravnos
why
Archon
was
just
it-
calling out the
No,
ST.
no, I don't.
Oh no!
Okay.
So I thought you were referencing the BS in chat. That's what I thought you were referencing. That's what I'm waiting for because I got an answer and it's not the answer he's thinking.
I hope it's
Okay,
way of the
so-
11 bolt.
Ow.
Well, I will defer to Nikki and then I'll answer your BS question.
So here's the skinny. What is a horror game without actual stakes? What if you watched a horror movie and everyone survived to the end? Is that really a horror movie? No, it isn't.
You need at least one death.
You need at least one good death to bring up that tension. But the thing with the Nexus crawler here is the best way to describe it is they are beings of absolute chaos. And it sensed a buddy just trying to wake up for a long dirt nap. And it was hoping for a play date.
If it at any point decided to use any of its real power, we'd be dead. The
Yeah,
entire
the
pack.
the truth of the matter is Nexus crawlers act without reason, act without logic. It was there to have some fun. And then when it realized, oh, that fun isn't going to happen anymore. Oh, well, I'm going to go back to where I know I can wait it out.
Worst part is they all look different.
They do.
Every single one.
And I love describing them.
Oh, like that whole part with like it looking different to all of us at the same time was very much like, huh. Because so for me as a player, I'm not as well versed in werewolf lore as some. And so I didn't know what that thing was. And then, it's, and I love this group because there was very much that separation of player versus character knowledge. And, or at least I felt there was that it was never anybody did something that they thought specifically was going to deal with it because they knew what it was. I loved it because like me not having any clue is just like, this thing sucks and it keeps looking like something I want to kill. I'm going to keep trying to kill it. But yeah, no, I loved that fight.
Okay,
But
please go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, it might be a little tropey, but pretty much in every werewolf game there is some Nexus crawler there.
At some point, yeah.
Beth, Trailer Park Werewolves, when you step sideways, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
we had all bunch of bad stuff in ours, baby. We did.
Best part is I am in the same boat as Plays. I do not know as much of the lore as everyone else,
I didn't know Jack.
but I can recognize that. Oh, that's not good.
Those pigs were a pretty decent first challenge too. Like,
Yeah,
holy
they
crap.
were.
Love skull pigs. Love them.
No, but it was
So-
entertaining.
There's so many worm creatures and they're all terrible. That's what
Yeah,
we need to
and I-
realize.
Really like trying to throw those kind of worm creatures out, but a thing for this game really for me was werewolves are their own greatest enemy. And that's where I went. But
Okay.
yeah, now go ahead and answer the bullshit question.
Yeah, you answered the
Timber
bullshit
Breath.
question, but real quick, I want to say Zach Rules did say, and I'm just going to this one because it directly relates to this discussion. He wanted to know, did y'all see that the Nexus crawler are on the Kickstarter page for
Yeah.
the new thing? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I've already backed that.
Yep. It's before this game, I owned nothing werewolf. And now I think I own everything that's not a novel for Werewolf 20.
That's a thing that happens for real.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Don't forget the tribe books; those are pretty good too.
love
but
those.
those are revised. Those aren't 20.
Yeah,
Fair
Which is
enough.
the sad thing. There was a couple things in there I wanted.
I have a couple of the tribe books from revised, but that's specifically Bonar and Children of Gaia.
Okay, so Ravnos Archon, go ahead and ask your bullshit question.
Come on.
So, Brayed, what is your favorite thaumaturgy path to play with your Tremere characters?
So first off, hashtag Tremere Ash Party. Second, V5 doesn't have paths. It's important to know your enemy. V20, the correct answer is Corruption or Father's Vengeance.
Oh, corruption is pretty fun.
All right, so we got the bullshit question out of the way. Now, Astral Aberration asks, what are the core concepts behind your characters and how did they influence the Chronicle? So that's for all the players at the table.
So for me, so nature, demeanor, and I always mix the two up unless I'm staring right at the sheet. But there's like the one that's like deep down the true one, and then there's what everyone else sees. So for my true is survivor, which kind of got touched on a little bit towards the end, with sort of hints maybe into season 2, what that might mean. But I mean, when it comes down to it, when he gets backed into a corner, like it's just his instinct is to survive. He's lupus. He's, more animal than human. So for him, it's, second nature to survive. But then the other part was trickster. And part of that for me was, having never played a Bonar and having never played a Ragabash, it very much to me felt like a character like that would. So for me, knowing a lot about how wolves play with each other, just because I'm weird and I like that stuff, it made sense to me that there's going to be one of those. So that's what I tried to do more of, was finding the strong, silent, serious character, and then just torment them. But then it was also being that levity when there wasn't always levity. Because that's at least my understanding from reading like Ragabash. That's their whole thing. Is it's you're there to take the shit when it needs to be taken, but you're there to lift spirits when it needs to. So for me, it was, well, I'm gonna fuck with people as much as I can, which is where some of the trait or the gifts came in. Was picking stuff that was very much either survival based or mess with people based. But yeah, I mean, absolutely for me, it was, if there was a time where I could torment somebody, or, I mean, survive was, I mean, I'm one of 3 that made it out alive. So yay, survive.
Yay, majority.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just, for me, it was kind of read the room and what made sense. And that's how I guess it affected me.
I've been inspired by a character like this long before I ever actually even saw the casting call for this show, because just I'd heard about the archetype reluctant guru, which is just basically ever since your first change, you've pushed against everything werewolf, because oh my god, I hate this. This is awful. I don't like turning into a giant furry murder machine, etc., etc. And so I just took that and was like, all right, where would I want to take this? And then with my demeanor of fatalist, which I think I got across a bit, I just decided, all right, moody teenager, I can work with that. And then it turned into this whole like runaway with an unlucky streak and all that stuff. You know, really melancholy, really somber, just kind of a bitch. And it just went from there. No real special detail for it.
I can go next. Actually, I have many different things that went into Jonathan. First thing was what tribe, because I've like Bonars and Getter Fenris are the ones I typically go towards, and I can kind of do them second nature. I wanted to go like kind of complete opposite of what I usually do. And Children of Gaia was like, boom, the perfect choice for that. And then for personality, I actually, a lot of RPG characters, I put little slices of myself and past into them. Jonathan, I guess more than usual, I kind of took my history of like overdose and suicide and kind of like put that into his character, more like the trauma that follows that like through your life. And that was kind of why he was quiet, calm, didn't talk much. He only found out about stuff like when boom, shit hit the fan. And then for what was like afflicting him, that was actually added after I built Jonathan. I went up and looked at all my werewolf books and I was like, is there anything I can add? And there were 2 books that stood out and I was like, yep, I'm going to take stuff from them. One was Freak Legion and the second one was Chronicle of the Black Labyrinth. And I just skimmed through those, and that's kind of where I got the worm taint and the sickness that's in Jonathan.
Damn, laying it on thick. Those 2 are some of the more fucked up books, if I'm remembering right.
Mm-hmm.
And their spines stand out on the shelf. That's pretty much it for Jonathan.
And I'll hop on up next. We'll leave Rapnos for last. But Olivia was kind of like also dealing with some of my own stuff. Like within the last 4 years, I've lost both my parents. And so it's just like that moment of like, you're all on your own if you don't have extended family. But then you have those like odd step family where it's like, it's kind of family, but not quite. So you want to be a caregiver, you want to have all the feelings of family, but it's not exactly there. So you try to be like, oh, I can just do this on my own. And then you find your own family and you choose them for yourself. And then you do anything to keep them safe because you've already known what it's like to lose. So that was definitely the caregiver aspect of it. And I don't know if the whole like rogue kind of like, I can do it on my own if I want to, or I'm going to just try to do everything on my own really came through. But I kind of think the caregiver thing came in, even though it was definitely a little grumpy on it. Like, I don't want to show you that I care, but I care. It's like, so here, have some mother's touch.
I mean, trying to kill us all those times definitely showed you didn't want to be around us. But
See, I mean, that was just a throwback of my own bad decisions.
I don't know. It healed.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're still alive.
Yeah, I didn't get attacked at all by her, so I don't know what you're saying.
Look, guys, she's never been anything but pleasant to me.
Yeah,
I obviously cared for Eyes more than anyone else.
Wow.
than anyone else. I believe it.
I'm just saying, though, she let you die, but died for the rest of us. So is that true?
So let's hear about the inspiration behind Eyes of the Creek.
Mine was, I have to be honest, mine was, I think, the one approach with the most trepidation. I remember sending Ravenia the message where I was just like, hey, could I play a red talon if I promise not to be a red talon, because they are such a problem tribe for most people that they get a bad rap and kind of get struck from the list of possibilities, even though they're in the book. And they're a viable tribe and they're a fantastic tribe if you play them correctly. And I'm not saying that I've played them correctly. I'm just saying that I played true to a director and a judge and a philodox above tribe more than anything. And so I wanted to be true to those three things. That was my triad of what I need to be true as far as the character is concerned. I had to either be the director, I had to be the judge and the rules lawyer, and I had to be the philodox before I was ever allowed myself to be the red talon. And I think it paid off because apparently, like, I was a lot of people's favorite character, and the whole time I'm just sitting there hiding my insecurity and all the little jokes in our Zoom chat, because the whole time I'm like, somebody's gonna call me out on this and be like, "That's not a red talon. You're terrible." And I'm just like, "You're right. You're right."
That never happened.
No, I was going to say I felt, especially being the only two lupus, I loved the way that Eyes was like, he was calling, there was that antagonism where it was,
there was a dichotomy.
There is this litany, which you need to be aware of and you need to keep in mind, but it's also, you're making a mockery essentially of, the Garu, by, engaging with the Weaver. And I definitely feel there was definitely the red talon where it was, because you stayed away pretty much from non-Garu humans. And you definitely, at least with plays, reinforced, like, this isn't what we should be. So yeah, I thought it was fucking brilliant.
And I remember Ravnos here messaging me, "Hey, I kind of want to play a red talon." And I don't know if you remember my message, but I was like, I can work with that. That was just the straight up. And he was like, "I'm intrigued and curious, but I'm not going to ask any more questions." For me, any tribe is up for grabs. As long as you do it with care and respect, that's all that matters to me. One of my favorite tribes doesn't get a lot of play, and that's the Uktena. And it's because of a similar thing of, I don't know if I can play this tribe right or correctly. And there's a lot of mishmash of mistrust and things like that, but every single one of the tribes has their own flavor of, ooh, that's a little squiffy. And I really honestly say embrace the squiffy because it tells a good story.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. You guys told an amazing story with these characters. All right, so McStabber Studios, who is running our tech tonight, actually had a question in Twitch chat. He asked, if your character could do something different, what would it be?
I wouldn't have died, that's for sure.
You would have let Colin just deal with his own shit.
No, honestly,
Well,
by a similar token, if I could have done one thing differently, just in a general sense, it would be as soon as he started fighting, before he issued the whole "you and me, bro, 1v1, let's go." Before that, just drop from what I was grabbing to like drop onto that thing and fight with him, because then he might have actually survived. But at the same time, Colin wasn't in a spot to see himself that way.
I definitely think the season going forward would not have been the same without Eyes dying. It wouldn't have. I don't think. I think the way it happened made sense because that was absolutely the catalyst for the rest of the pack to unass our heads. It was, plays finally kind of, stopped skulking around around the issues and faced them head on. Colin stopped fucking running away from everything. And then, Jonathan and Beth kind of, and Olivia just kind of both bringing in their past issues after Eyes died and turning that. I don't think, so as much as I don't want to be that guy, one thing I wouldn't change is Eyes dying. I think I would have wanted to try to get plays one more scene between the stare down and then going in. And I think even plays would, everyone always wants that one last moment, with a loved one before they die. And it's kind of one of those things you don't know exists until after it's too late. I think I would have pushed a little more just to have, because I think there still could have been like a little bit more like rawness going into that fight where the loss would have been more pronounced for plays. But then again, being where I was emotionally and mentally at the time, I don't know if that would have been a great thing. But now, weeks removed, kind of having the distance to sort of look at it. That's what I would say is, one more time with Eyes and plays, just to kind of get their living versions, to deal with each other, but loved that they kind of got that moment later.
Does anyone else have something that they would have liked to have done differently in character?
I think maybe for Jonathan, maybe be a little more Galliard. That makes sense. I know I had moments of it, but there are some episodes went by and I was like, I didn't be a Galliard at all, but
Oh, don't worry, dude. It took me half the series to actually do my Auspice job. It's fine.
So other than that, no, I don't know if there's anything I would do different.
I think I'm going to echo with Jonathan, for that. I probably would have maybe played up the Black Fury aspect a little bit more, but it was also like that weird situation because she was also half raised by foster parents in Child of Gaia. So it was that you don't want to go too hard on that one thing when she wasn't fully raised in it, I guess. I also probably maybe would have tried to put that rib bone in the magpie swag instead of putting it, holding it in her mouth. That might have been a smarter decision.
Yeah. As a quick note to the audience, cannibalism, not even once.
But it was entertaining for everybody else, I guess.
Yeah, entertaining. That's what I thought when you bit me.
I mean, Olivia was definitely my favorite adversary.
God damn.
Need some favor for something.
All right, so storyteller, is there anything you would have done differently as a storyteller in this game? Because I'm going to put that on you too.
The thing I regret the most is Eyes of the Creek died before I could really do much with his backstory.
Yeah.
As most people know me, even outside of the ST verse, you have to give me shit to work with. And that's the thing. I need you to have good background so I can pull shit and twist your heart and lungs into nice little origami shapes. And Eyes of the Creek had a good backstory that I wanted to let shine a little bit more, but someone had to die at an inopportune moment, I guess, with bad dice rolls, and that was still perfect too. But
without giving it away, also Ravnos, I hope the 5 extra points was worth it.
Cashed them in immediately.
I cashed them in immediately.
So that actually reminds me, I think, real quick, one other thing I think I would have had plays do, because it was very integral to him being in the area to begin with, is I wish I would have done more with his kinfolk, which again kind of alluded to at the end, that he's kind of going back specifically because he hasn't spent more time with them. Just because it would, again, like the whole reason why I went lupus is liking, that the natural, like documentary stuff about, like natural wolf behavior. I would have loved to do more of that. Yeah, I think that's the only other thing I would have really changed, because I think everything else happened just perfectly the way it needed to for the story. Yeah.
Outstanding. And Astral has one more question for you guys. What were the most difficult scenes for you personally as role players? And I'm going to say that's for the whole table, because even the storyteller can get impacted by scenes as they play out.
I'm going to readily just up the whole dream sequence when I had to come after I missed episode 2 and came back in. That one just kind of threw me, and I wanted to throw things at Nikki.
That's the sign of a good ST there, or GM, when the players are like, God, I hate you. I want to throw something at you, but God, I love you anyway.
Damn it. No, it just kind of said it really did hit home in that in the dream, and in that nightmare, like Olivia's mom is calling for her to run. It's like, oh, that's right in the feels. Stop it.
I mean, fuck, any time I ended up bursting into tears on camera. I don't do that enough in my real life. You kidding me? So no, the openly weeping and still having to carry on like dialogue and shit, because at the same time I'm like really affected by it. There's also this echo in the back of my brain like, you're on the stream though, don't just cry. I'm like, shut up. And so yeah, no, those definitely were rough. They sucked, but they weren't the worst thing in the world either.
I think as hard as the immediacy after Eyes dying was for me, I think it was harder for me after Olivia died, when there's that whole, the camp has come back together, and it's not just the pack, but it's literally the different tribes coming together. It's literally like the fucking the horns have been blown, everyone's coming, and Plays was in that sort of, another pack member had fallen, but it was the first time in the Chronicle that he was directly by the pack, or by the sept or the cairn, sort of like welcomed in, or he felt welcomed, like, people actually, telling him he did a good job, which, it's, again, part of his backstory is exactly not that. He's always kind of been that, living on the outskirts. It doesn't really get involved with like celebrations, doesn't, it's just he stays outside, stays on the edge, and then when it's time to leave, he kind of follows towards the back. But to finally kind of get that, basically the group hug from the pack elders, I think was hard for me, because having somebody so I've always been open with my own issues with like mental health, with depression and anxiety and stuff. And to be in a situation of understanding what it feels like to feel out of place, but then to have people open their arms and literally say, "You're one of us," was, I mean, I'm sure you can see it. Like, I was on the verge of crying, for a much different reason than when Eyes died, but still like emotionally kicked in the balls.
I think mine's probably kind of on the obvious side. It's when Jonathan, his first like frenzy in Krino Shift, and it was like kind of situational, because it was the episode before was the one I missed because I didn't have internet, and then the beginning of this episode, like I'm rolling willpower and frenzy checks, like, oh shit, yeah, we're going right into this now. Because I hadn't fully cemented either what was going to happen, but it was like, okay, let's go. So that's probably mine for the Chronicle.
As far as being in the moment, I think anytime the Revenue was like, "What is Eyes of the Creek doing?" I was like, "No, this is what am I doing?" Because you're playing a lupus, which is alien to your mentality growing up as a human boy or a human person, and it was such a surreal thing to watch those kind of wolf documentaries and watch wolf pack behaviors and be like, am I doing this right? Is this what I'm supposed? Should I pull back? Should I do more? But afterwards, after dying, like I think every episode where I was being referenced for some reason, or the murals were being referenced, it was just like, oh, this is tough. But the whole journey was such a good story that I don't think anything was too difficult in retrospect, but I think in the moment there was definitely some difficult choices to make.
Trying to think of the hardest thing that I had to do. Well, the death scenes were always big. The branding of Colin was big. There was a bit, and this goes into what Ravenos was just saying about Lupus being alien. There was a moment I almost slipped with Julie. I almost slipped into her actual Lupus speech, because she's unlearned how she used to talk in a way. And it was going to go into a bit of, this one will not let you wreck your birthright, taint your birthright. There was a whole thing, because when I play Lupus, I definitely fall into this weird third person kind of speech pattern. And it's because they're so alien. They don't think of themselves as individuals. They think of themselves as a pack.
Also, spontaneous, like, increase in emotional intelligence and, like, actual ability to retain information is kind of overwhelming for a lot of wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so that was, I think, one of the big things for me, again, having, never played a Lupus before, was I didn't even know how I was going to communicate. And kudos to Ravnos. I mean, I completely piggybacked off of, like, once he started talking, like the way he was speaking, like I did the same thing, because to me it made sense. You would probably communicate short ideas as much as you can, because in a pack, you need to get information quick to act. And so trying to speak in shorter sentences, he wouldn't have proper grammar because he wasn't raised to know any of that. He clearly only ever goes into Hamid to give people clothing that isn't him. So he doesn't. And so I think that's one of those things that I just have to give Bravnos all the kudos for that, because I think I would have been completely lost on that part without him to emulate.
As a writer, it was one of the most painful things to not use proper grammar. That was the most painful experience.
That is so hard to basically program yourself to unlearn for a character. Yeah.
Playing stupid's fun, but it's also difficult.
It's very challenging. It is, and it's not necessarily stupid. It's just uneducated. Yeah. It's not having that level of education or knowledge to know how to utilize that. And that is challenging. That really is. Excellent. Do you have any questions for each other, or do you want me to move on to the next viewer question?
I actually was thinking of one. And again, this is for everybody. What is one thing that completely caught you off guard about someone else's character? And then for the ST, you can be as broad with it as you want. But I always find, and this kind of ties into one of the other questions that Astral asked about the internal issues.
Which was there some question? Yep.
Was there something that caught you off guard, either in a good way or a bad way, that about somebody else that sticks out to you?
Yeah, having a Red Talon and a Black Fury in one pack together, that was awesome. It's never
blindsiding.
I don't think I've ever seen that. It was just really cool.
I mean, to a minor extent, the seatbelt checks definitely caught me off guard.
They were always fun, though.
Yeah, sure. The only reason I said Cullen didn't react much is because of the crazy amount of stamina he has. Because if something it takes enough to hurt him, it's dealing aggravated damage. That's how this works. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But the biggest catch me off guard about someone else, just not so much backstory, but definitely the first time Olivia went derp and started hunting for food. That was I was like, wait, what the? Oh, the rib. And that was a fun little side moment.
That one caught me off guard too. I completely spaced on the whole rib thing, and just then she's like, "By the way, oh, you smell something." I'm like, what? Like, where? What? And then I'm like, oh, all right, let's do this.
Right. What's the not second rule, but it's one of the higher up rules. Don't eat the flesh of humans.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna be like, well, she didn't really eat it. She's had it in her mouth.
You rolled badly on that, so yes, you did eat some of it, and I made sure to detail that in my description.
It was a single drop of blood on your tongue, I think, if I'm remembering it right, but that's enough.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, don't eat people, folks.
No,
it's bad
don't.
for you.
Yeah. I think overall, the one that got me by surprise was Jonathan's reveal towards the end. But while I was still alive, I think the biggest surprise was the moment that Plays stood up for himself when I called him a coward. Because up until then, I didn't think he had the spine for it, and seeing him just turn around and shift into Hispo, I was like, I have been a pack leader out in the wild. I know that I'm gonna have to stand here and face you down in my lupus form and let you be the one to initiate anything that happens moving forward. But I was like, good on you for stepping up.
It was a great moment.
And for me, for all of the times that Eyes had ever kind of stared down Plays, the one time the Plays did literally, like you said, in that moment, I entirely expected Eyes. I thought it was going to be a fight, and when you did nothing, I was like, okay. It was I expected that was going to be our, for lack of a better term, our come to Gaia moment, and it was not.
Now I'm sad that Relin is titled moderator and not Gaia.
Oh, Shaky can change that. I can be Gaia. But yeah.
The voice of Gaia.
Come to Gaia.
You don't want that job.
Let me set your fucking asses straight.
Sorry, Relin, you don't want that job. You don't.
Mother Gaia. There you go.
Leave it to the actual Gaia. You don't want that job. All of your servants are idiots.
I'm gonna let the storyteller elaborate on that question a little bit. Just 1 second. I just wanted to say that I hate that Eyes fell when he did, because I legit saw this story between Plays and Eyes becoming like the Buddy Lupus show.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, it was totally going to happen. Y'all were going to have your come to Gaia moment, and then you were going to respect each other, and it would be the Buddy Lupus show.
I think that, at least for what it counted, Plays respected his rank, and that went a long way. But I think it was the respect that wasn't expected.
Yeah.
There's the knowing your role, but owning it is, I think, different. And it's, yeah, I don't know that we would have necessarily, and again, I mean, this is all hypothetical. I don't know that that's what it would have turned into, because I think Plays, if Eyes hadn't died and Plays didn't have his, I definitely think the coward thing would have come back. Mm-hmm. And I think that would have either brought them closer or one of them would have died. And I'm not anywhere near confident enough to say that I think Plays would have survived it. But I think in that moment, enough people calling you something bad enough times, they just keep fucking poking the bear. I think at some point he would have snapped.
Yeah, you have your breaking point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, storyteller, please elaborate on Timberbrad's question.
I'm trying to think of the best way to elaborate. When I was getting everyone's background together and looking through things and being like, oh, this looks shiny. This looks, this is kind of how I look at backgrounds. I'm like, oh, this is shiny. I'm going to put this in my back pocket here and stuff like that. Or, where there was someone that just needed a helping hand, it's like, oh, honey, let me help. Let me set this straight for you. You're kind of not seeing the forest through the trees. Let me help. And being like, oh, and then pulling basically everybody aside kind of for one-shots that needed it, little preludes, little colorful sessions to actually bring the characters to reality.
Not recorded. Sorry.
But I already knew this pack was going to be a fucking chuckle fuck destructo, dysfunctional, almost Irish Catholic.
You gave us a one-shot plot in an entire Chronicle. So what else did we expect?
Yep. I'm just trying to think of something that y'all were amazing. This wouldn't have turned out the way it turned out without each of you doing your thing. Shitty dice rolls, great role play, all of that. Without that, this wouldn't have been as great as it was.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You guys did excellent. Knocked it out of the park. So Astral did have the question about challenging internal issues for your pack. I feel like through various questions that we've answered, we've kind of brought those up, you know, the different personality conflicts that arose in the pack and how they challenged each other and stuff like that and ended up, you know, by the end of it, yeah, 2 fell, but generally they got through their issues. So moving on to the next question, McStabber Studios asks, question for Plague Winds. Did you really forget to get bound clothes, or were your streaking scenes a planned thing?
No, I forgot. Didn't even think about it. And then when it kind of came into play, I says, "How the hell? They just go nude. Just have a little fun with it."
Just FYI, I did point out the whole bound clothing thing at the beginning.
Nikki does
of the
that.
Chronicle.
She did that
Multiple
for one shot
times.
too, because Plague Wind
I-
played in that with me. So did Beth.
I forgot all about it. Didn't
See,
think of it.
I had bound clothes. As soon as Colin learned, it's like, wait, my clothes will explode every time unless you like tie them to me spiritually. Fuck it, whatever, get this done with. Because he'd rather sit through a little more werewolf bullshit if it meant he wasn't just spontaneously naked.
So this just made me kind of like click in my brain that you were also kind of balls out for Gaia at the end of the final episode.
Yes.
Right there with
Yes.
Moon
Yeah.
Shadow.
Yes,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Balls out.
Balls out for Gaia.
Balls
Tits
out
out
for
for Gaia.
Yep. Yep. And I think Plays gave me like a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the Weekend at Bernie's 2 special.
Yes.
There we are.
I love that Weekend at Bernie's has said while I'm wearing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Spank
the
My
nudity-
Betty
oh.
actually has a question. If there was to be a second season, what do you
I was gonna
all...
say like the nudity in general. I think had a
Oh.
lot of like humorous scenes.
No,
Oh, sorry. I think
That's
my internet was there.
that's okay. If there was to be a second season, what do you all see your characters doing? And for the ST, where would you take the story if there were to be a second season?
On the spirit of chuckle fuckery, I think for plays, obviously having been through, this clusterfuck, is definitely going to kind of alter some of how he acts, but realistically, not that much. And I think one thing that I would like to see is more opportunities for plays to be awkward and Hamid. Because and we were kind of like talking about this, I think on stream, but I know definitely off stream, that he was almost always in Lupus or Hamid or in Hispo because he's used to being on 4 legs. So anything that's not 4 legs is just super fucking awkward to him. So, and then there's the added thing that there's this human convention with clothing that he doesn't like because it's confining, but it also, he wasn't raised with this concept of shame about nudity because to him it's natural. So it's this idea that he's going to be super fucking conspicuous anytime he's in a hobby. He's gonna look like he may have been dropped on his head a few dozen times as a child. And I'm just imagining like the first time he goes into a shop with money and he just hands them a wad of paper thinking it's the same thing because it's paper, not realizing that it's not money. Or basically doing the whole Jonathan thing where it's fucking basketball shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and fucking flip-flops. Because it doesn't make sense to him because it's not a thing. But I think that exploring other things other than just always being in Hispo or Lupus, just because, you know, that area in the, you know, in 96, wolves are still kind of, you know, very much iffy for the general public. So it's definitely, I think, something, because I think originally the idea was to go one direction. But I would love to see more awkward Hobbit, which of course is going to mean more balls out for Gaia.
Ghost Olivia is going to be pestering the heck out of Ghost Eyes of the Creek. Just the way it goes.
Believe that.
It's going to be Star Wars with the Force ghosts.
Yeah, just appearing and just shaking my head in judgment. I think. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mine's just an off comment of, if both of our dead pack mates both become ancestor spirits, I'm gonna shit myself and just throw probability out the fucking window. It is so rare to actually become an ancestor spirit. It's insane.
I think that if there is a season 2, and if we're allowed to come back for season 2, I'm gonna do something that's completely 180 from where Eyes of the Creek was. So I'm excited for that because I already have an idea, and I secretly love him already.
I've got some good ideas that I need to start sending Nikki's way.
Anyone else have commentary?
I'll be honest, as soon as like our last episode's Zoom call ended, not the episode but the Zoom call, I knew what Cullen's trajectory was going to be in his mind. Because he's like, I've been an ass and I've kind of rejected this society for so long. All right, time to way overcompensate and throw myself into it. So first, I think I said at the end of the last episode, he would challenge for his next rank, and then he would do his best at that rank, and then go for the next rank. And once he got that, start going for Wormfoe, which is the person who is in charge of the defense and tactical like fighting setup for the Cairn. And yeah, no, as soon as I realized blah 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 wants to help out, oh, Wormfoe, and that was all she wrote in my head. So Colin's gonna go that direction or die for Gaia.
Well, real quick on that note specifically, with plays kind of losing the self-inflicted coward's mark, it's now going to be, you know, in his head that he needs to keep earning it. So that on top of his curiosity, I think is also going to push him to want to get kind of like more involved, which again, I think is going to end up just turning into fuckery. Cause I mean, that's plays. He'll try, and at some point he might get it right.
So, speaking on that note, Ragabash have a particular point in Garu's society. People love to think of them as the trickster layabouts that are just there to annoy and be the Omegas. But the truth is, they are a coin flip away from the Theurge. They teach in a different way. Very different way. It's more
teach by example.
Yeah, it's more, there is a little bit of that school of hard knocks kind of thing. It's like, I'm going to give you advice, but if you don't follow it, Like one of my favorite Ragabashes, and I think I've talked to endlessly about all these characters that have been designed, is Basking Lizard. He is your typical stoner bro. He's just like, what's up, kitty cat? You know, kind of, hey, new girl. And his job is to talk to the plants. He makes the weed plants grow well in the Seattle Cairn. That's what he does. But the thing is, he's also there to be like, you know, I don't think that's a good idea. And he just kind of lets it linger. And if they don't ask why or they kind of go whatever, he just kind of disappears. And then they proceed to fuck themselves up. And it's like he shows up there, takes a big old hit on the joint, and he's just like, I told you, new girl. And walks away.
I've played a Ragabash. I didn't play it with you, Nikki, but I've played it in a different game. And I will say I also took them a little bit in the direction of they kind of have that streak of question everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they learn their hard lessons that they can share with others, is because they question everything. And sometimes not verbally question, but in practicality question everything. So yeah, I think that they are a fantastic one to play. I really do. I mean, because they can be very chill. They're a coin toss away from Theurge, so they have a lot of that teacher thing going on with them. But they also they can be a lot of fun. You know, and you can play one that is the trickster, or you can play one that's a little more surly. Either way, I mean, you can go either direction with it, and they're just a lot of fun.
I completely agree with the question everything mentality for a Ragabash. They're there to tweak the noses of people who think are better than them.
Right.
But all the most excellent Ragabash are smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, just constantly question everything, and just even eventually it just turns into like when toddlers ask you questions, because after a while they're not asking a question to ask the question, they're asking it just to be annoying, even though they may not realize it. I'm not saying that any Ragabash I've seen have done that. I've just heard horror stories, and that's not the way you play them.
Yeah.
Well, and that was always my understanding from reading it, was it's if there's an opportunity to teach, or if there is something that's clearly being overlooked, you're the one that brings it up, because it's like if someone's going to get punished for voicing the voicing the counter opinion, that's the Ragabash.
Oh yeah.
It's not always just go with the flow, because sometimes the flow is the wrong fucking direction.
Exactly.
And that was always what I was trying to do with plays, was trying to have, like, in the times where maybe we were focusing on one area of the investigation, he would go off on his own, just because we need a different view, maybe. Yeah.
Before we go too far into tangent territory, I will answer the second part that was for me. From what it seems like in agreement, there is going to be a second season. It's going to be next year. Ravenos and Beth are obviously completely welcome into coming back, rolling new characters. The rule I have is if you die in the scenario, in the campaign, you don't come back until the next season. That's the way I tend to roll it. And you got to have that risk. You got to have that danger there. Where I'd probably be taking the campaign, we might be going a little bit more urban. We might be stepping out of Cody because we did the wilderness apocalypse. Let's go and be more urban and deal with some real face of the worm.
Yay, more coffee.
This isn't coffee you want.
Okay, McStabber Studios asks, why did you all go with Trouser Snake?
Because the snake is cute.
Trouser Snake
Naturally.
was Trouser Snake. Here, I can give the origin of Trouser Snake. Trouser Snake was entirely because I was thinking, all right, the first change for every werewolf is usually, not entirely, but majority, stressful as shit. And I'm like, what would stress my guy out? Pain, thinking he's going to die. Yeah, that's a good start. How would he get there? I don't know. He was wandering through, where are we? Wyoming? Okay, we're in the plains of Wyoming. He was wandering through, got bit by a rattlesnake. It was entirely because I took a fear flaw, and I was like, what fear should I have? And I was like, snakes. That makes sense. That's cool. It's also a fun little like haha sort of joke about my tribe, Ireland, snakes, etc., etc. I know that's not the actual thing it was, but my own little in joke. And just as far as I was concerned, I was just going to be like, all right, he's just going to hate snakes forever. Nah. Suddenly there's a snake that never leaves me alone.
It's just like, ooh, shiny.
All right. And then Ivy Raven actually asked, how does Plays feel about cat rears after this experience?
I
Undulating cat rears.
I have so 100%. I have no clue where the hell that meme comes from.
It was from the description of the stuff in the game.
So I know that there was something to the effect of, and the way like my brain was interpreting it wasn't that it was like something undulating in the hole, is that the hole itself was undulating. And so my brain, something's coming out of a hole. I thought it was a gigantic asshole. I thought some fucking spirit was shitting shit out on us.
You stared deep into that whale eye.
No, I can only laugh internally because that's an actual worm spirit. There is a thing exactly like that.
I'm just saying, like, I, as a person who knows very little about the lore of this game, thought this gigantic asshole was a fucking thing trying to kill me.
Ivy Raven says you made the meme that you were like, as this undulating cat rear comes at me.
I legit do not remember calling it a cat ass. I may have.
Luckily, we have the video on VOD and
go
YouTube.
back and watch party it.
I definitely remember calling it an undulating asshole because that's my understanding of what it was. But I mean, ass needed to be destroyed.
My favorite part about this whole undulating cat asshole that you have gone off on is the fact that before we went live, we were talking about how you couldn't have a cat in your apartment because there's only so much asshole that can fit in that apartment. And now you've come full circle.
Yes, fucking circle.
Just like the Lion King.
Full fucking circle.
Apparently, I just keep cats away from me, I guess. I don't know.
Obviously. All right, so last call for questions. Do you guys have any questions for yourselves? Does chat have any questions for this cast?
I'm open for everything. Come at me, bros.
So how can someone's mother become a snake, become a pack totem? What?
You want to really go into this?
Elevator speech at least.
Your mother and Lou were basically the best of friends. When your mother died, Lou offered to bring her spirit into herself. She then transformed into the snake that she always loved, which Lou had already been taking the form of a snake. And she promised your mother that she would get to watch over you. And so when you came back home to where your family lives, that's why she was there.
I treated that snake like shit.
You did. You treated your mom like fucking dirt. And now
Not
she's
cool,
gone.
bro.
And now she's gone.
And McStabber Studios did ask, is Ravenna saying season 2 of this game will be set in Chicago?
No.
Hey, I'll go in on a war. Why not?
Well, no, I responded where it was just like, do you really want fucking Windy City to end that bad? Because give me a fucking rank 3 plays with danger, let loose in Chicago and have some fun. God dare.
I mean, it would be interesting.
The Lupines do put up quite a fight.
The Behinds do put up quite a fight.
I don't know, man. They have a new gangrel in their coterie, so I don't know how I feel about that.
Gangrel are the only leeches actually worth maybe taking a second to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maui Howie would talk to Ginny, I think.
There's only one tribe I can think of that explicitly is like fuck every vampire and everything that agrees with them.
Good.
And they have a decent reason for it.
Yeah. Get. All right. Ivy Raven also asked for the ST. Did you realize you said undulating like 100 times in 3 minutes during the fight?
Yes, I said undulating and dark force butthole.
Yes, multiple
A lot.
times.
And at least 50% of that was because of me. So sorry about that. Wow.
Okay. I don't mind it. I do not mind it.
I thought it was hilarious.
That's also an excellent question to wrap up the Q&A.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Well, if there's no further questions, I would like to go ahead and thank this amazing cast of storyteller and players for putting on a fantastic 10-session Chronicle set in 1996, Cody, Wyoming. 2 of them fell, but they got shit done and saved the world.
Like you do.
Like you do.
By the skin of its teeth.
By the skin of its teeth. So, if anyone would like to say anything in closing before Shanky does the outro?
To Ravinia, thank you for the opportunity. It was lots of fun.
Thank
Shanky
you.
Raylin, thank you for letting us do this.
Absolutely.
Everyone else, thank you for tolerating my bullshit.
Hey, you tolerated my bullshit. Fair's fair. And
A lot of
reiterating the
tolerating
thank you.
Yes.
I'll just end with balls out for Gaia.
Tits out for Gaia.
Yeah.
Red rockets for Gaia. Lipstick for Gaia.
I will
Yep.
say there's only one thing that I realized I could have done that I didn't, and by the time I realized it, I had already lost my fear of snakes because it was my mom. But I wanted to see if I could get an Indiana Jones quote in, but it never lined up.
Mm-hmm. All right.
yeah,
Well,
no, this
Shanky,
was
go
fun.
ahead and take us out.
First of all, hopefully everybody can hear me because I'm not quite sure I got my audio right. My brain is screwed up at the moment. Just to let you know, I'd like to once again thank Ravinia for, honestly, for being the ST for this game. And then I'd also like to thank the players because it was amazing to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch. F in chat for Ghost Eyes of the Creek and Ghost Olivia. I can't believe Ravinia had a 40% casualty rate on this 10 episodes. That's pretty impressive. So, I've got to say it was great to do and great to watch. And I'm happy you did it. And I look forward to a season 2. If you want to join us on the Discord, please pop over to the Discord. It's right here in chat. As you can see, by the way, everyone gets to talking. We're actually a fun group. We talk to each other a lot, either on Discord and other places. We're just a fun social group. We cast our shows. Speaking of casting, as far as I know, we have 3 casting calls. I'm not aware that Ravnos Archon has closed his mage one yet.
That will be closed tonight.
That will be closed tonight. So it isn't closed yet. He's still he's going to be closing his mage casting call if you want to get in on it. I still have
90
room in my
minutes.
paranoia stream coming up for the National Breast Cancer Foundation for those who want to be in a stream for a good cause. And I have slots open for Zasser Kala, which is a very dark and fucked up twisted game. Yep, that is going to be amazing, but it's going to be dark. So pop over to Discord, get in on that. If you want to catch back episodes, maybe you missed part of this stream here in particular. Pop over to YouTube, give us a follow over there, give us a subscribe, all that good stuff over there. Bits and donations go to the players, not to the channel. So if you want to give something to the amazing players of this, bits and donations here on Twitch, they go to the players. The studio does not take any of the bits and donations. Subscriptions go to us. Everything else we try to give back because there is a lot of work that goes involved in this that people don't see on the back end. A lot of planning for the storyteller, a lot of, deciding their characters and going through into backstories and getting stuff to the storyteller. And it's a lot of work. So, get your merch. We've got merch for this show. Look, see, they're wearing it. Red Rockets for Gaia. I mean,
And shout out to Tam Shu for crafting that graphic for me to put on the shirts.
Jam Shoe, Haunted Chronicles in chat a lot of times. He streams here. Matter of fact, he's back to streaming Monday nights, which I'm sure my lovely wife will get to here in a minute. If you want to check out some great content, check out our friends here in Twitch chat. One of them, you see right there, Ghost Eyes of the Creek, right there. He is Ravnos Archon. You can catch him multiple times a week streaming to his channel. And I'm not going to lie, he doesn't get the views his channel deserves.
Facts.
Just going to say
Facts.
100%.
I
Facts.
appreciate you guys.
because
Go give some love to Ravnos Archon.
yeah, he's a great storyteller.
He's
I
a
love
great
popping over there.
sissy.
I wish my schedule allowed me to watch more of it. I try to lurk even when my schedule doesn't let me watch it because I like to be over there and support him, and it's a good show. So that I just have to say that. And now I think I'm going to turn it over to my wife because she has some outro stuff. She got to give you the schedule this week because
Yeah, let
I
me
can't
actually
remember
pull
schedules.
that up.
Yeah, I don't remember the schedule because, well, that's how that is. She'll pull
I'm
it up.
what day is it? Okay. No. Okay. So what we have coming up is on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, we have a special Call of Cthulhu one-shot run by Revben Powers. It is at 3 p.m. Eastern, which is normally the time that Tiss runs her London Esoteric Society Call of Cthulhu 7E Chronicle. But this time, one of the players at the table is going to run a one-shot so that she can actually get a chance to play in the game that she loves. So, join, I believe Ravinia is going to be in that, yes? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But yes, so he's going to be running that on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have 5 p.m. Eastern, Windy City After Dark, Season 4, Episode 3. Our Vampire the Masquerade 5e or V5 game set in Chicago. We haven't even recorded Session 3 yet, but after Session 2, it's going to be fucking awesome. I just know it because this coterie has finally become a cohesive group. Finally.
Just in time for, and I'm going to tease this. I guess a lot of people should have been here for this one. There's going to be a pretty big shock halfway through the season this year, or this season. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard to deal with everybody. It's one of those things that, we're a stream. And we know what's coming for some of the main arcs, but one of the arcs is going to be tough, everybody, and it's coming halfway through.
So thank God we finally come together. Fucking finally. And that's at 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. And then on Monday, Tamshu is back with his Haunted Chronicles, Black Death Chronicle. It's actually a Chronicles of Darkness stream. This has been a long-running campaign that he ran. He had to take some time off due to some personal issues. And now he's back with his cast. Nick Ravinia there is also in that, where basically they are picking up with their last season of the Chronicle. They've already had one character death.
He murdered right off the bat.
Right off. It's like, whoa! Okay. So this does not look like it's going to be a happy ending for anyone in this story. Join us at 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday for that. And then actually, I'm going to go ahead and go out for the rest of that week. On Wednesday, I will be back with my final one-shot of You Will Destroy Something Beautiful on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So join us for the upcoming week. We've got some great streams leading into our October Game Pink month-long fundraiser for National Breast Cancer Foundation. We have amazing storytellers and GMs that have stepped up to run games for us for charity. We have awesome players from our community that have stepped up to play in these games for charity. We have a big goal, and we're hoping we can meet it by producing some amazing TRPG content for you guys. So please get hype. We've posted it in our Discord, what's coming up, and it's amazing. And I even have a casting call I'll be posting next week for something that's going to start up at the end of the month of October. So really, get hype and be planned to spend a lot of nights with McStabber Studios next month as we stream some amazing games.
We've got Vampire the Masquerade scheduled, Windy City. There's Chronicles of Darkness with Haunted Chronicles, who was just talking in chat, as a matter of fact. We've got Mage the Ascension. Ravnos Archon's going to be running it. We've got
And it's
Call of
going to be
Cthulhu.
awesome.
There's Blades in the Dark, a game called The Way Home, which hasn't had the casting call open, but it's coming. There's Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Paranoia, which there is a casting call open for Paranoia right now, and Zas or Kala, another one, very dark horror with a casting call open. So just to show you, we are going to be busy here, but we've got some great shows planned up, and we've got premiere of a storyteller who hasn't streamed with us before, who's going to be running the Thirsty Sword Lesbian. So you'll definitely want to catch Moira, who's a player we've seen.
Yep, she's in the London Esoteric Society.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you've seen her appear in Haunted Chronicles and Ishvel.
Yep.
So she will be running Thirsty Sword Lesbian. So check it out. That's going to be great, great stuff. And as always, everybody here at McStabber Studios, we take mental health very seriously, both for us and for our viewers and members of our community. Please check in on those around you. Check in on your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people at your table, the people you want at your table even. Please check in on them. Make sure they're okay, because a lot of people aren't. And you may be that lifeline they needed, that hand that they need to keep them off the edge, or to help them off an edge they've already plummeted down. And if you do suffer from mental health issues, like many of us do, don't hesitate to reach out to those around you, whether they're professional or friends or family or people you feel you can talk to. But if you don't have anyone like that, because I know a lot of people don't feel they can, in chat, there's a list of numbers you can call or text 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where people will talk to you, that will do it without judgment. They won't, look at you as a bad person, because you're not. Mental health is not, it doesn't even mean you're broken. Mental health is same as health, everybody. Mental health is health. We all have get sick sometimes. We all get hurt sometimes. Mental health is the same way. So please treat it the same way. And I'm going to turn it over to my wife for her out part before I keep going on. And
I'm
on.
actually going to have Timber Brad here tag team with me on this one, because we are both registered nurses.
Damn right. Get your damn shots.
Get your damn shot. Seriously, get your COVID vaccine. If you are eligible to get it, please go get it. Please, 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 please. There is not only an issue with hospitals and facilities getting overwhelmed with COVID patients already, and we haven't even hit winter. There has now been a basically mass exodus of medical staff, because they are tired of people not getting vaccinated and filling up their beds, and they are burned out. They are freaking done. They've been dealing with this for almost 2 years. Get your shots. Stop driving nurses to quit, folks. Get your shots.
It's not just about you. It's vaccines work because people who can't get them can get protection from people who get the vaccine. The virus can't get a foothold. It dies. Just, if not for yourself, do it for those around you who can't get the shot.
Please.
It's a quick couple of jabs. I know people have their horror stories about, get any of the vaccines. There's the Pfizer one that's got, the full FDA approval. Get the fucking Johnson & Johnson, get Moderna, get whatever you can get. If you're worried about a second shot, get the one shot. There's plenty of opportunities out there for you to not just take care of yourself, but to take care of everyone. And we need to take care of each other, because this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, none of us are in this world alone.
Nope. That's why we take mental health so seriously.
Yeah, we are not in this world alone, so we have to take care of each other, and we have to do what we must to take care of each other, because if we don't, we won't have anyone to help take care of us when we need them.
Facts.
Damn it, I can't hang out with people if they keep all dropping dead.
True. Facts. So, on that lovely note, thank you all for joining us for the Werewolf Cast Q&A for Phoenix's Call. This was an amazing game, an amazing chronicle. You can check it out on our YouTube channel. It is in its complete entirety there under its own little playlist. So check it out there, and we will see you hopefully in Discord.
Yep.
Take
And we
care,
are going to
everyone.
be rating Vorpal Tales. So get ready to pop over to, I saw Zach Rules, and as a matter of fact, talking in chat earlier tonight. It's a channel he's on quite a bit. So we're going to pop over there now. Once it's ready to raid. I got to wait for this, countdown. It gives you a countdown.
It's got to cook.
Yep.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Here we
Bye,
go.
guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks again.
There we go. I'm going to stop the stream here. That it.